So thank you all to those who are joining. So getting started, I will go over an introduction of myself, who I am. I'll give a brief overview of STEP, talk about the goals and objectives, the structure of the program, overview of the events, the benefits of the program for the students, and then we'll have a Q&A with STEP alumni, and they'll be able to tell you about their experience with the STEP session from last year. So my name is Taylor Johnson. I am the coordinator for STEP 2022. I was the coordinator for STEP 2021 last summer. I'm also a student support staff member for the Center for the Enhancement of Engineering Diversity, who hosts STEP students on our campus, and I am also a PhD student in engineering education. So program overview, we have a 5-week program for incoming students. The program dates are from Sunday, June 26th through Saturday, July 30th. And the program is open to accepted VT general engineering students, as well as pathway scholars. So those are the students that are able to apply and join our program. Program goals and objectives. So STEP aims to help the first year engineering students establish a community of other first year engineering campus. So through this experience, students will have the opportunity to develop the connection with their peers, as well as faculty and staff as they interact with people throughout the duration of the camp. And students will also take part in a rigorous schedule with classes and activities that will be a great introduction to the university student lifestyle. So we focus on building community within the students that come to STEP, with different activities and socials on the weekends, which I'll talk a little bit more about in the following slides, as well as personal and professional development. So working on those time management skills, as well as interacting with faculty and how to interact with staff and personnel on Virginia Tech campus. We also focus on academic skill development. So through the coursework, as well as different exercises with student support staff on campus, or through other activities, students work on, what they want to develop before they get into their fall semester at Virginia Tech. So there are a few pillars of the program and the way that the program is structured. So we have, we'll have faculty seminars and lunches, industry events, academic coaching with graduate students in engineering at Virginia Tech, professional development seminars, and social events. And I'll talk a little bit more about these going forward. So STEP participants will take calculus, chemistry, and engineering foundations. And so with these classes, students will experience a schedule much like that of a first-year engineering student. These courses are ones that they will take within their first year at Virginia Tech as engineering students. And although these courses are not for credit, they serve as a great way for students to gear up for the academic demand of engineering curriculum at Virginia Tech. So the College of Engineering faculty play a large part in our programming for STEP. They give seminars on VT engineering and their research areas. So they come in on Friday, they give a brief seminar to the students. Students get to choose which faculty they want to hear from on the Friday sessions. And then they also sign up to eat and chat with our students in the dining hall throughout the week. So that provides an opportunity for students to meet them, ask them questions, get to know a little bit more about them, as well as the faculty get to know a little bit more about our students while they're on campus for our program. We also have industry events. So company representatives come to campus and work with our students. They especially want to collaborate with STEP students because some of them are STEP alumni, so they feel strong ties to the program and they want to give back. These are generally focused on leadership development, engineering activities, and design challenges. So this year, for example, we'll have GE, come do a design challenge with our students. And we're very much looking forward to that collaborative aspect and getting to see them interact with our students in that setting. We also have additional workshops and seminars, and we invite the Student Success Center, which is a center for student support on campus, to talk about their resources before the students start in the fall. So things like tutoring, study groups, resources that they already have built for students to access as Virginia Tech students. We also invite Hokie Wellness to talk about mental health as a student. They also talk about other aspects uh, about wellness on campus. Professional development services come in and speak to our students about how to develop a resume and how to write an effective cover letter. We also have the undergraduate research office come speak to our students as well, or representatives from that office, so they can tell students about how to get involved with undergraduate research early and how to engage in that community before they start their semester, their fall semester at Virginia Tech. And Finally, one of the things that I've had the joy of being able to witness last summer is seeing the communities that the students create amongst themselves. So the RAs and this program staff especially put in events and different activities throughout the week as well as on the weekends for the students to engage with the Blacksburg community, find things to do. We have, and some of these photos are from different places on campus and around Blacksburg. So we have the break zone, which has bowling, pool tables, things like that for students to access, and we reserve that for the students to interact with each other during the first week. We also have a 4th of July barbecue where the students interact and eat, different foods outside, play volleyball, things like that. And then, of course, hiking around the Blacksburg area, which is um, a very big part about the student culture here. And so students engage with that as well. Excellent. So, of course, the benefits of the program. This provides students an opportunity to become acclimated to Virginia Tech and form a community with engineering students. So they get to interact with their peers. They live in the residence halls with each other, and like they really form that community of learning how to interact with each other in a living space, and seeing people in classes, planning social events, walking about Blacksburg, and things like that. Students also have opportunities for personal and professional development. So developing time management skills, the collaboration aspect that they have in their courses within the engineering foundation course, like they're on teams and they learn how to interact with their peers. And they also work on teamwork skills and different aspects like that through socials and different program aspects that we have in place. They also have interactions with company representatives through design challenges and job talks. So they get to ask people who are eager to interact with students, especially first year students or incoming first year students, and ask them about their roles at their companies and see what they're doing. Um, and these people are usually, the company representatives are very enthusiastic and want to share about how they grew up through the program, whether it's they started in STEP or the other communities that SEED has established at Virginia Tech. And they show kind of their trajectory and how they ended up at their companies. And then, of course, opportunities for academic enrichment. So the coursework very much simulates what the students will be going through in their fall semester. They interact with graduate academic coaches or graduate student academic coaches. So these are graduate students within the School of Engineering. And there have been some rich interactions and rich like communities built within that. And that's a unique opportunity for students to interact with people that could be their TAs in the future, or people that they see around campus, or become their mentors for the time that they're at Virginia Tech. And then, of course, faculty interactions. Like, faculty are very enthusiastic about wanting to interact with our students because they are first year students and they're excited about their research and things of that nature. So I think that's definitely a pro to the program, and I look forward to seeing how the faculty choose to interact with our students this summer through seminars as well as lunches. So, of course, talking about all of the benefits of the program, I want to talk about requirements, and more details about the requirements can be found on the website, which I have linked here and I can drop into the chat bit. But the program cost is $3,000 per student. This covers housing and a meal plan while they're here on campus. And so students are able to access the dining halls for 3 meals a day, and live in the residence halls on campus for the duration of the program. They must so students must be able to attend the entirety of the program from June 26th to July 30th in order to participate. We want students here at Virginia Tech. We want them interacting on the weekends. So we ask that if the students are not able to participate for the entirety, or they have to leave earlier, other family events come up, um, or weddings or whatever else, vacations, we hope that the students to participate in the program for the entirety. I understand that family emergencies come up and we can work on those on a case-by-case basis, but that is one of the aspects. I meant to mention as well, the financial assistance is available for the program costs. So we ask on the application different information, and we also need a FAFSA form from Virginia Tech to adjust the price based on that. And if there's any other issues with that, you can, of course, contact me, and we can kind of talk about what that means. But we hope that the finances are not a deterrent for you applying, or for your student to apply as well. Um, Also, they must have a laptop that meets requirements set by the College of Engineering by the start of the program. I know some students have theirs delivered to campus, but classes start very quickly as soon as you get to STEP, and our students might be able to speak to that. But they would like, or we would like them to have that once they come to campus. That way they're ready to go on the first day of classes, and that's not a deterrent to them participating. You can find more information on the requirements, like the specifications of what your laptop has to include, on that website included there. And then, of course, the STEP website is very comprehensive in the requirements and other details on the program. So I would strongly suggest that you look at the website. The application can also be found there as well. So, and important dates. So for the application and information related to that, you can visit this link, and I can also drop it in the chat in a bit. But if you look SEED, STEP program, or STEP, you should be able to find it pretty easily. So this is kind of a layout of the timeline that we have for deadlines, and also how we notify students and what the range of dates for the program are. So the application deadline for students is Tuesday, May 9th. We notify students whether or not they're accepted by May 28th. And then the students will have to let us know about a week and a few days after that, whether or not they are choosing to come to STEP. That way we can get the final numbers, we can work on housing, things like that. And then the beginning of the program is Sunday, June 26th. We'll have students move into the residence halls, get acclimated with a few things on campus, and then be ready to start class the next morning, bright and early at 8 a.m. The end of the program is Saturday, July 30th, and we conclude with a closing ceremony in which we invite family, friends to attend, see some highlights from the STEP program, and things of that nature. And of course, if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out through email, the STEP at vt.edu, and things like that. So that was a very quick overview. I do that so that we leave enough time for the students who are the past participants of STEP to speak a little bit more about their experience. So feel free to drop questions in the chat. I'll field those one way or another. I also have some prepared questions just to introduce you to the students, things of that nature. So I will go ahead and stop share. Excellent. Let's see. I need to make sure. There you go. Excellent. So should be seeing our two students. So I'll go ahead and just like let y'all introduce yourselves and say your name, your intended major, your which all of you two are both first years, so I guess that rules that out. But your name, your intended major, and your hometown.
I'll go ahead and start if that's okay. So hi everyone. My name is Josiah Jafaldi. I'm intending to go into MSc or Material Science Engineering, and I'm from Woodbridge, Virginia.
Hi, I'm Caroline Jessup. I am intended to go into computer science, and I'm from Centerville, Virginia.
Excellent. So both of you experienced STEP last summer. So if you could just briefly detail what STEP was like for you.
Yeah. To be quite honest, STEP hit me like a truck. I wasn't really expecting. I just wasn't sure what was going to happen, but no, it's nothing at all like high school. It's just so rigorous. I mean, you only have 3 classes, but it's throughout like 5 days a week, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but it is, and it's just I don't know. You definitely need time management, and yeah, if you don't know it, you'll definitely learn it. Hopefully by the end of the program. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. That was probably my first experience, like living for so long away from like parents or like any legal guardian, pretty much. So it was really interesting to like kind of figure out like your own like daily schedule, like taking out the trash or doing the laundry, and like getting your food, making sure you're eating all 3 meals and everything. It was definitely hard to pick it up at first, but Step really helped me to like get a basic schedule and like study routine to like still work out everything.
Okay, excellent. And we had a question from one of the guests in our webinar is how or like what was the biggest benefit to participating in the STEP program?
For me, time management. I was one of those students that didn't really have that kind of going into STEP, and kind of just like through experiencing just like all these classes and not really knowing how to manage my time well, kind of just, you know, experiencing all these things I need to get done, and then just figuring out, okay, I need to do this in a timely manner. That was like my main takeaway and benefit, I guess, from participating in STEP. So.
And yeah, another thing that I thought was really beneficial was definitely like just living on campus without it being so busy, like the first semester. I was like, it was really helpful to learn like the way of the place, like the campus, and also like the different resources that tech had, which was really helpful going in first semester and already knowing like where everything was and like where all the classes was.
What was your favorite part of STEP?
Oh man, definitely like the late night study sessions. Just I don't know, like there's nothing more, I guess, like it was just such a great community time. I mean, one, you're like doing your work, but then also like you're getting to talk with a lot of different people. You know, you have people like sprawled out in the hallways and in the other lounge, and it was just I don't even know how to describe it. It was just such like a magical experience. That was definitely my favorite part, was the community.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. Like, it's kind of shocking, like how we all got so close, literally being strangers when we first entered STEP. But I really enjoyed like the times we went on like the late night movies trips or going to the break zone, as Taylor mentioned earlier, or even just doing like those activities on the drill field, like painting and stuff like that. It was really fun.
How many students are accepted into STEP? We aim for 100 to 120 students in the STEP program. So I guess if someone can clarify, there's a question about, do computers come quickly if the STEP notification is May 28th and you order a computer shortly after? So I know the reason why we tell students, I think on the site, we try to encourage them to order them as soon as they are notified of acceptance if they intend to attend STEP, just so that they have that time. So between, being accepted and attending STEP, that's roughly a month. So we try to encourage students to order it as quickly as possible. Around how many people participate in STEP? So, and I can kind of combine that with is it a very competitive application process? Typically, we try to accept students that have a completed application. And so sometimes students, might not submit whatever material, and mostly that's just for our purposes of like, we want you to have something prepared so that you can work on while you're here. In that, like, they submit a resume, things like that, but it is not necessarily competitive. And it's mostly dependent. So for example, last year, only around 50 students applied. And so, we modified how we were going to house the students and things like that. And then I believe 45 chose to actually come to STEP. That was mainly due to probably the fluctuation guidelines. Students were unsure of how, the environment was going to be given the COVID-19 restrictions and things like that. But, we're willing to accept up to 120 students for that. This is a question that you two can answer is, do you attend class 5 days a week?
You got this, Caroline.
Yeah, so we do attend 5 days a week, and it's usually like, I believe we start at 8 a.m. every day, or most days, and then ends around sometime in the afternoon. But it's definitely a really rigorous schedule, trying to get so many weeks of class in a short little time.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's the same as last year as well. So we have 3 classes: chemistry, math, and engineering. And so we have chemistry, math, and engineering every day for 5 days of the week.
Excellent. And then, of course, feel free to drop more questions as you have them, but I'll continue with ours. What is something you wish you would have known before attending STEP? I guess like the nature of the program, what you should have expected.
I definitely read a lot about the program, saying how rigorous it was and everything. But when I first went into STEP, I didn't expect like how difficult it would be and how much time I really had to put into like the classes to make sure that I was doing well in them. But another thing I wish I had known before I got to STEP was like, yeah, you're there to like learn the academic side of it, but then also like take a break every now and then and learn how to relax and learn about the different activities you could do on campus.
Yeah, definitely to add on that, like learning when to take, I guess, productive breaks, I guess you could say. Because I know quite often I would just do so much work in like a long period of time and then just feel burnt out and not want to do any work after that. But yeah, just knowing how to space your time, especially for work, and also kind of like taking breaks to either hang out with other people just to kind of give yourself like a mental, I guess, reset or check. That's something I wish I knew.
There we go. How did your high school math and chemistry classes compare with the math and chemistry classes in STEP?
Okay, so I personally took harder classes in high school than the ones I had in STEP. For example, I took AP Chem and BC Calc, which was about the same level as the ones that we had in STEP, so it was really nice to review everything before the semester began. But although I had credit for those classes in first semester, I was still able to learn like a lot of good studying tips and like routines that I still use like currently. So although this schedule during STEP was vigorous, it was definitely really helpful.
Yeah, in high school I took AP Calculus, AB, and then AP Physics, and just regular chemistry. And like while it was hard, like it still is possible to do well, to perform well in those classes. Although like for me, the high school classes were just a bit easier. Um, the like the step classes are still manageable, regardless of what background you have. You just have to put in the effort to do well.
Excellent. I appreciate those answers. So I will answer a few more from the chat. And I guess you can speak on this experience too. So one of the attendees said, I haven't taken chemistry in years, so if we are struggling with step course load, will we be penalized in any way? Are there grades? Which I can speak from a programmatic aspect, but you can.
Yeah, so I mean, there aren't grades like there are grades, but it doesn't count towards like your college transcript. So this is kind of like a bit separate from, I guess, like your college experience because you're not actually graded on anything, but you do receive grades like it would be a regular semester. Um, and I don't think there's anything negative that happens if you don't perform well in the classes. It's just I think you just miss out on like a book scholarship opportunity at the end of the semester or at the end of the summer, I believe.
Yeah, so from a programmatic aspect, it's the structure of the STEP program, and I think the motivation behind not assigning GPA points towards the STEP courses is that you do have the environment to learn from your mistakes and improve on your test grades and work towards what you will be working towards in the fall. There are no penalties. However, we do, meet with students that aren't performing academic or like performing well academically, and try to identify resources for them so that they can increase their grades. Because we don't want them to walk away from STEP with, failing grades. I mean, it doesn't impact anything GPA wise, but we do want them to be equipped with the skills to put like the best version of themselves ready for the fall when they start the coursework.
Yeah, and if I could add on that as well,
go
again, yeah, so I like from taking STEP, I hadn't taken a chemistry course since like sophomore year of high school. And then I took STEP and the chemistry course, I had no idea what was going on. And I didn't do well on the first couple tests and like the last couple tests. But then I went to then I actually took the course come fall semester, and I just saw a huge improvement in my test scores. And I was actually able to use that to help go into like an extra recitation class for chemistry, which also helped my grades as well. Just for like the last part of the fall semester for chemistry as well. So you shouldn't it shouldn't penalize you too much. It'll actually help you a whole lot, even if you don't know that much about chemistry or haven't taken it in a while.
Okay. So continuing with some questions from the chat, I had a question about will notified after May 9th, or if they apply early, will there be like rolling admission as the applications come in? So they will only be notified after May 9th. I think just having the holistic amount of applications. However, what I'll do as the time progresses is not release all of the decisions after, but like work through them and gradually figure out how to go about that, especially with whatever funding or like FAFSA information that we have to pull. So we will be working on like getting those notifications out earlier rather than later, so that students can make more of an informed decision on how they want to spend their summer. So the absolute like latest deadline for me personally is the one that I listed on the slides, but hopefully it'll be closer, I guess, closer after May 9th than further. if that makes sense. So is the residence hall you apply for in the fall will be the same one you are in for the summer program? No, unless you apply for specifically Maine Campbell, which is the residence hall that we will be staying in for the fall or for STEP. So what we do is we have all the students in the same residence halls to, we have RAs that will be living, or residence hall assistants living in the residence halls with the students throughout the duration of the program. Josiah, for example, is one of ours for next summer. And so they will be living there, planning socials, things like that. And so it is not exactly the same one that they will be applying for in the fall. It is a one separate just for STEP students to be occupying during the program. Let's see. This is a question for students. Does the pace of the first semester increase, decrease, or stay the same coming from the program?
I guess that would just depend on what your schedule is looking like. For a typical engineering schedule, I think that would be in the fall semester, you'd be taking chemistry, calculus one, uh, engineering, like the first engineering course. And then I think English as well if you're taking that. So you'll definitely have more classes, but you'll have it a lot like more spread out. And I know for me, I thought that it was a lot easier than STEP, because with STEP it was just like go 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 every single day. But once I hit the fall semester, I had a lot more time to like space things out and do other things outside of just studying and working. So
Yeah, I have to agree with Josiah because the step schedule was definitely way more rigorous because it was all compacted into like every day you had to go to class and only a certain amount of weeks that you had to go to class. But for the first semester, I personally found it way slower and easier to do, even with the added classes, because you just had way more time to do it. And at that point, you only had to go to class maybe 2 to 3 times a week, and it was way more relaxed and slow.
Okay. And then coupled with that, I had a question about, is the goal to complete a semester's worth of work during the 5 weeks? Not necessarily. So, because of the large range of how the students are, coming in with varying levels of calculus, varying levels of chemistry. Some of them took it immediately prior to attending STEP. Some of them took it, like Josiah, like in their sophomore year or something like that. So, mostly it's to acclimate students to what the pacing is like. So they do have tests pretty frequently within the STEP program within the 5 weeks. However, it's not to cover like the complete semester. It's to get them to a point about, I would say, I don't know if you can agree with this, but at least like 2/3 or like 3/4 of the material in the semester. Is that correct? Would you say that that's an accurate representation? Yeah, or at least touch on topics. So that's kind of the goal of the instructors when they are building up the materials, seeing where the students are at, and then figuring out how to go from there. Um, Excellent. And these are 2 scheduling questions. Feel free to drop more in the question and answer uh, feature as time goes on. What is a typical daylight? If you start at 8 a.m., what is the rest of your day?
so I don't really remember the days that much. I just remember that it was like classes in the morning, then we had lunch sometime, and then we had other things planned throughout the day. And I think we had another class that was in the afternoon, and then we had dinner, and then after dinner, I think we had most days we had free after dinner to like study or hang out after that. And then obviously like the weekends um, are mostly free. Saturdays, I think the residential hall assistants like me will try and plan weekend events for you guys. And I think, are they optional, Taylor, or would they have to go if we did plan them?
Yeah, so some of the socials that we have on the weekends include like things that aren't optional and that they're programmatic, but the things that the residence hall assistants do organize, those are mostly optional. But we do strongly encourage students to get out of the residence hall on the weekend, see what Blacksburg's all about, engage with that, and we set up transportation and ways to get around Blacksburg as needed with some of those activities. I don't know if you want to comment on the schedule as well.
Yeah, sure. So, to continue on the weekends, I remember that we had the RAs like drove around vans of us, and we were just have like these weekly trips to like Target or like Walmart or like places around there, which was really nice. But yeah, I have to agree with Josiah. Like the daily schedule for during the week was definitely just mostly classes, but they also had sometimes they gave us like seminars or other like general meetings that they had in the afternoon that was scheduled in as well.
Yeah, we typically structure the schedule like a 8 to 5-ish schedule, in that we have classes throughout the day. We of course give the students enough time to run back to the dining hall, get lunch for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and we have classes stacked as well as the academic coaching sessions that happen with graduate students. We also have seminars usually in the afternoons on Fridays, and so most activities, end uh, so that the students have the time to eat dinner, do their homework, things in the afternoon. But I know some students, engage with each other, whether it's like study groups or going out and playing volleyball or things like that. And so they have their evenings to themselves, but with the point they do have to complete whatever homework for the next day. So they're very much in charge of their own time in the evening. Um, yeah. So another question that we had was, what kind of topics do you learn in each subject?
I know in chemistry, we kind of touch on just like the basics of like stoichiometry, like balancing equations. And then I think we also get a little bit into like acid base titrations, a little bit, not like upper level stuff, but just very basic. And then for math, I'm not sure if it'll be the same this year, but last year we went over I think a little bit of pre-calculus and then calculus 1, like derivatives and integrals, and then a little bit of calculus 2 and calculus 3 with like, I don't know, like graphing on like 3D planes. And I mean, all that like went over my head, but it was a lot of fun just seeing like what I get to learn in the future. And then engineering, it's you just basically get to learn the design process, and it's very similar to what you'll do in the fall semester if you decide to take engineering.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you got most of it. Um, chemistry and math really just touched upon like the basics and the intro of like a regular semester class, or even in like high school is definitely the basics, and it wasn't that hard to like pick up on. Engineering, we talked about design process and also like engineering ethics and just general terms that you might use during your first semester.
Excellent. So we had another question asking who our instructors will be. So we will have Dr. Candice Wall for chemistry as well, which a big fan with the students, which is nice. And then Mr. Heath Hart again. And then for engineering foundations, we're having engineering education PhD students who are enthusiastic about teaching, who have already been TAs for the course, teach the students. So we're looking forward to having them on the team. And I previously worked with Candice and Heath last year, and looking forward to working with them as again. Um, a student I've looked at the laptop requirements and was wondering which laptops you guys had. I wanted to get a better idea of which laptop I should purchase. So very fact-based.
Yeah, do not buy a Mac. Although it says you can buy a Mac, it's a very long process because you have to download like Windows software on it. So if you're a Mac user, a Mac lover, I'm sorry, do not get a Mac. It's just a hassle, especially if you're doing MATLAB, to kind of switch back and forth. And if you're trying to do SolidWorks, which you'll eventually have to do, just switching back and forth between that, it's just a whole mess. So just stick with Windows, stick with anything that automatically has Windows 10 software on it. So
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm not really sure exactly what model it is, but I just know mine is a HP Spectre, which has been like working well so far. So yeah.
oh, and if you can get a laptop that has like you can like fold it into like a tablet or whatever, do that. That's so awesome. I wish I had that. Like to be able to like it's like a notebook and it never runs out of paper. Like it's just so cool to me.
Yeah, no, they're definitely good tips as far as like for students to look towards laptops, especially since y'all use them so heavily in engineering. I know I personally faced that where I went through a few of them during my time as an engineering student. And then this is kind of a question, I guess, for you, and I can answer it more so from like what is not necessarily estimated, but someone asked how much money would a student need for the 5 weeks in addition to the cost of the program. So the cost of the program, of course, covers housing, and then you eat in the residence hall or the dining hall for 3 meals a day. But however, I know some students ventured out into Blacksburg when they were tired of the dining hall food and things of that nature. So how much or like what are some things that y'all spent money on while in Blacksburg and like necessities and things like that. If you just give a list, that's fine. I don't think you necessarily have to quantify it, but I think that'll be helpful for students to understand.
Right. Well, point number one, D2, which you guys will be eating at. It's the best dining hall. You get to eat as much as you want. You just have to swipe in once and you'll be good. I go there all the time, even now after STEP, and I love it. Even though the food quality isn't that good, it's I don't know. It's just the best place for me. But as for other purchases that you'll make, I mean, I was given like $100 and I didn't even go through all of it. Like my parents were like, "Here, have fun," and I just didn't go through it. I didn't buy anything at Walmart. So it's just dependent upon the person. I know I used some of that money to go watch a movie when we did that, and then also if you don't put money on your Hokie passports, which you should be getting over the summer, you'll have to bring quarters. Um, so I'd say bring about like I don't know $20 worth of quarters. I think. Well, not 20. I don't know. Just bring enough quarters to last you 5 weeks. I don't know how long that'll be, but yeah.
And to clarify, that's for laundry, correct? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, definitely laundry money, you'll need that. And yeah, it definitely depends on the person. I know I personally spent money on sometimes I would get like little groceries when we went to Target, like some snacks to keep in the room. Or there's this really good like ice cream shop downtown, which is called Sugar Magnolia. I definitely spent a lot of money on that for milkshakes. But other than like sometimes like getting meals and stuff, it wasn't really anything necessary outside of the housing and dining food that they give you, but it was definitely nice to have somewhere on hand.
And then a question, I guess it's related to the residence hall or the dining hall food. Are there good vegetarian options?
I know there's one section in D2 that has vegetarian options. Um, Although I'm not sure. I think they're open during the summer, or at least that section is. Because I mean, I sometimes get things from there now. They have like sweet potatoes, just like whole sweet potatoes, rice, like baby carrots, usually like broccoli, and then like I don't know, like veggie, like chicken nuggets, but like not chicken, like veggie nuggets, and then um, just like veggie dogs as well, like vegetarian corn dogs too, and like sweet potato fries. It's a whole interesting section. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it's good. It's probably sometimes better than the other stuff. So
Yeah, they definitely have like it's not that many options, but they have like a salad bar, vegan food. I'm not sure they might have like gluten-free food also, but there is definitely vegetarian options. It's just you gotta look for it a little bit sometimes.
and there's a place where you can make wraps too. The wraps are really good. Yeah.
Nice. I appreciate the extensive detail of the sweet potatoes and things. And then I had another question. Was how can this be done in relation to Corps of Cadets? We had a few students last year do both simultaneously, and that'll be communicated to me. I'm going to try to set up and like communicate with whoever needs to be communicated with. That way, like this events can be um, done, concurrently with whatever needs to be done. But I would say it's like not impossible in that I apologize that I don't have immediate examples just because the students were very self-sufficient in handling that on their own. So like they would tell me if things came up or what's going on, and that's kind of the way that we went. So let's see. So two more laptop questions. One, I'm considering getting a laptop for my main use and a separate tablet for note taking. Would that be practical, or is a two-in-one more practical?
I mean, like I have a friend that does that. Like they just have a regular laptop, but then they also have like a tablet that they can take notes on and do other things with. And I mean, if that works for you, then that's fine. I know that I couldn't get two because I don't know. I'm like I have three other siblings, so funds are kind of hard to come by. Um, so I couldn't do that. But I mean, if you can, then by all means, go ahead if you like that a lot better.
Yeah, so I personally don't have a two-in-one laptop, but I know from someone or from some of my friends who do use two-in-one, a common problem is definitely like the battery life because you can
Mhm.
separate it. So they have batteries for each part, and it definitely dies faster than just a regular laptop. But if you could somehow work around that, that would be nice. But also, just having two separate ones, like a laptop and a notepad for writing and everything, and taking notes, definitely is also a good idea. It really depends on your choice.
Okay. And then what laptops recommend for an engineering student if Macs aren't the best?
Caroline, you go ahead. I don't know laptops.
I don't really either, but I'm pretty sure when I was like trying to find one for tech, the engineering like computer website, I'm not really sure what it's called, but maybe SWA or something. They have like a list of recommendations and also just like searching up like what are good, long lasting, but also like the good like engineering capability specs are there for good laptops, and that's how I got mine pretty much.
Okay. This is a question. So, do students attend orientation during STEP? Yes. So we are trying to coordinate with the engineering academic advisors to get all of the STEP students into one orientation session. That way it can be aligned with the rest of the program aspects. And we will communicate as students are accepted into STEP. We will communicate which date we would like them to sign up for. That way, they all have that on their schedule and they know what to do going forward. Do a lot of the STEP participants live in Hypatia and Galileo in the fall semester? And you two can answer that.
Yeah. Short answer, yes. I came into STEP not being an engineering major, and then kind of going through like the STEP program. I applied to be in Galileo, and I was accepted, and so I got to live in Hogue Hall. So that's where we get to live. It's the basement is pretty good, basement floor.
Yeah, so I also live in Hoag Hall, which is the dorm for the Hypatia and Galileo students. Definitely a fair amount of people decide to go to Hypatia or Galileo. So it's definitely nice to be able to walk around and see like a step student and be like, oh hey, how you been like since the summer and everything. You
Okay. And this is related to that experience is how was living in the community? And that's also like what other seed programs are you involved in?
Okay. I'm not sure if I should be completely honest or not. Um, but I know for me, Galileo was a bit rough. Um, but uh, I do feel like I guess, assignments that we had to do, um, like they were beneficial in some ways. Although the VT gems requirements were very not a lot of fun. Um, but yeah, as long as you can work past that, and those are basically like events that you have to do throughout the semester to get like credit for the course. Just a 1 credit course during like the fall semester, um, and like as long as you can get past that, there is a whole lot of like very useful connections that you can make in Galileo and in the class in general. So yeah.
Yeah, so just like living in a dorm full of engineering students is definitely an experience because unlike other dorms, you could literally just like walk around and like you'll probably see half of them, if not more, in your classes. And that's like really nice for like getting help on like homework assignments or stuff like that. So that was something that I found really nice living in Hypatia. But definitely the VT Gem stuff. They're definitely a hassle at first to get to because you have to get a certain amount of hours and credits in order to like stay in the community. And but at the end of it, I think it was really nice because it kind of made me go out there and like get more help for academic or get or meet new people for social credit or just listen in on like company talks for professional development credit and etc. So I think in the end it was pretty helpful.
Okay. I guess for reference to those who are watching who have never heard of the Galipatia community, it consists of Galileo, which is the living learning community for men in engineering, and then Hypatia, which is the living learning community for women in engineering, also hosted by Seed. And so a lot of the STEP students end up being in that program as well. I would say only a handful of them weren't, from what I remember. But okay, and then I guess just finally, just parting word, parting advice as we close out the webinar. What is some advice that you would give to incoming students and why should they attend STEP?
Well, for one, if you're not at all sure about like college, like if you don't know how it works, if you're just completely clueless like I was, it is such a great transition to it. And I mean, it says it in the name. Uh, so it was just such a great experience, like not knowing what college is going to be like, not knowing the campus that well, to kind of experiencing what it would be like. And then, yeah, just experiencing it and just totally like hitting the ground running and just being able to exceed and succeed in all my classes. So.
Yeah, continuing on to that, I think STEP really helped me to like meet and like bond with like the upperclassmen RAs and also the professors in a way more closer setting because compared to like in college where you like have one professor for like 50 to 100 students, it was definitely a smaller environment where you can actually like talk with them and just get closer to them. And I also found STEP to be really helpful because it was like a really low stake or low stress environment to like pick up the college skills that you need to like do well in class and just in college in general. So that was definitely really beneficial.
Excellent. Well, that's all the questions that we we have fielded from the audience. I appreciate your time, your effort, your energy into answering some of these questions and reminiscing about STEP. I appreciate the audience as well for your questions and participating. I can drop, if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me via email or the STEP at vt. Email address. I will try to get back to you with the details. However, the website is pretty detailed, so please go through that. It has a lot of the ins and outs, the guidelines, the things that we ask for the students as well. And if there's any other specific questions, feel free to reach out to me. But yes, thank you all for attending. Thank you both, our wonderful panelists. It was good to see you both again. And yeah, I hope everyone has a good rest of their evening.